Hello everyone, I'm That Wonder Jacob.
And I'm just Summer.
And welcome, finally, to Let Us Blank to You. Don't ask where the live episode went. I forgot to record it. It is lost to history.
Am I out of focus? I can't tell.
No.
Okay. Cool.
It's just because we're so far away. If we are out of focus, it's my fault.
Always.
Anyway, I figured since this is the first episode, we're just gonna fill in that blank with Let Us Talk to You.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure most of the people watching this first episode are people that do know us.
Yeah.
Like, I highly doubt we're getting any new viewership right off the bat.
Maybe.
But, this is just more of a chance for you guys to get to know us before we really dive into the podcast. I need some water.
You needed a water bottle. We have a whole thing. I don't know. I was feeling silly goofy before bed, and I looked at him, and I needed a drink, and I said, water bottle, and then I started
Yeah, like on my cheek.
on his little cheek.
And it tickled.
And it-
Anyway, so, first things first, you might notice we have an array of stuff set up in front of us. Every week we just plan on putting 3 things that, you know, we think we enjoy or might help describe us. So, like, you got Dawn FM.
Folklore.
I'm a big Weekend fan.
Taylor
Fen?
Swift. Swifty.
I've got Miles Morales sitting right there, and then I've got some Pokemon cards. I feel like those are some pretty good descriptors of me.
Yeah, I have, of course, Folklore, because I am a Swiftie, huge Swiftie. We went to the Air store. We sat in the nosebleeds. That's all I could afford, but the experience was good.
It was.
And then I have the Hunger Games, the first Hunger Games movie, because currently I'm back in my Hunger Games era because of the new movie, and I'm reading that book. So, and then I have the little ducky that my friend Russell knit for me a few Christmases ago.
Yeah, so, the things in front of us might change every week.
I'm changing my vinyl.
I was about to say, I have a couple vinyls, so I'm at least going to change out my vinyl every week, but the Pokemon cards and then Miles Morales might be there to stay. Just depends. And then right in front of everything, we've got a mold we did of us holding hands, you know, like that. And then we've got this podcast sponsor. We've got Dubby. Go to dubby.gg. Use code T1NJ for 10% off and help support the podcast as well.
Hi Smile, if you're watching this, sponsor me.
You're just going to start putting Hi Smile in front of your stuff until they sponsor you?
At Hi Smile. I might, like, toothpaste of the month, just the first of the month, I might put what Hi Smile toothpaste I'm using, even though I feel like
you use the same 2 flavors.
Well, I only tried watermelon. It's good. I just like the mango better, so I bought mango again.
Like I said, whenever you were doing your spiel about Hi Smile in the live one, I tried the, like, purple color corrector serum stuff, and that actually does work. I don't think it's to the extent that advertisements show, but I'm pretty sure that's also with multiple weeks of use. But, like, legit on the first use, I was like, oh yeah, it's a little bit brighter. My teeth are a little brighter.
Yeah, and I feel like with me, since I use the Hi Smile toothpaste, like with the Hi Smile formula and that, like before I go to work, like I'll brush my teeth, I feel like my teeth just look whiter every day. Like they get more and more white. Like I feel like they've never looked more fresh. So, I mean, today I had a cappuccino, so that kind of browned it out. But...
okay. I want to tell these people about this cappuccino.
Oh
so, we're Tulsa babies originally.
Tulsa.
Yes, so we like Quick Trip, which they're finally building Quick Trips here, like in Oklahoma City area.
They have the highway sign up.
Yes, so to us, On Cue is just a knockoff Quick Trip. Not necessarily a bad thing, by the way, but walking inside, it just gives off Quick Trip vibes.
It does, it does.
So today we went in there because I was like, okay, I need a little snack and we're gonna get something hot to drink. We went to go do our laundry. First of all, we're Oklahomans, obviously. I said, you know, Tulsa, and then said we lived in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
The wind chill is making it -8 degrees right now, and it's snowing. I don't care. Anybody that's up north is probably gonna be like, oh, that's nothing. Come live up here. There's a foot of snow and it's -60. That's great. I feel bad for y'all. We are not used to stuff like that.
Yeah.
The coldest temperatures we're used to in a regular year is like 20 degrees.
Yeah.
And snow, we get every couple of years to where it's actually bad enough to cause a problem. Yeah. So I don't want to hear nothing from none of y'all Yankees.
No.
No, but so anyway, we went inside. And first of all the roller items were still cooking, but they had breakfast sandwiches and sausage rolls that were still up from breakfast that were good until noon, and this was like 11:45. So it's like, whatever, you know, they're gonna be best in, or they're no longer gonna be that good after 15 minutes, but let's just get them. So they have a whole coffee bar, cappuccino bar type thing, and I got a blueberry coffee, which I thought was pretty good. Obviously, it's not super sweet. It's coffee. Unless you put a lot of creamer in it, you're gonna taste coffee. Sorry if you can hear the upstairs neighbors running around, by the way. I just realized how that might affect some of the camera. But, so I got blueberry coffee. And then Summer's over at the cappuccino machines, and she sees, what was it? I know it was peanut butter something.
I said, should I get this Girl Scout Thin Mint or this Girl Scout Peanut Butter? Which is, I think, a tagalong.
I think it's tagalongs,
freaking... Thin Mints and tagalongs...
best cookies
are my favorite Girl Scout. I do also like Savannah Smiles, but no one else likes those.
I like Samoas.
Those are the lemon.
I like the Samoas. They're like the coconut chocolate ones.
I don't like those. I don't like the texture.
So anyway, we get it, and I get done brewing my coffee. Summer's brewing her cappuccino, and it just instantly smells like peanut butter over there. And I'm a peanut butter lover, right? Like, I could put peanut butter on most things and enjoy it. Except for whatever the hell Sonic is doing. Peanut butter bacon cheeseburgers, peanut butter bacon chicken sandwiches, peanut butter bacon shakes. I used to be a proud Sonic lover. Again, Oklahoma gang. But what are y'all thinking?
Honestly, I don't love their prices, but I do love their shakes and their mozzarella sticks. So one time I was craving a shake, and I got a shake, and they were like, by the way, 99-cent small mott's today if you wanted to add that on. And I was like, oh, you know I do. But then my card got skimmed.
Yeah.
90% sure it was the Sonics.
But anyway, so we got out to the car. I tried a sip of Summers, and I immediately had drink envy.
Envy.
Like, I was heavily debating, as we were driving back from the laundromat, stopping by On Cue again, just to get that peanut butter cappuccino. Like, it was
good.
Oh.
It's pretty good.
And then the sausage roll I got was pretty good too.
Yeah,
and
my biscuit was pretty good. My sausage, egg, and cheese.
Yeah, that was our morning in negative 8 degree wind chill.
We didn't even tell them the worst part of the morning though. So we get out to do our laundry, and the laundry unit closest to us locked. And we're like, okay, let's try the other one, because there's another one a little bit across the way.
Yeah.
Locked. Well, apparently I didn't fully read the text where it said, oh, hey, the laundry units are closed from this day to Wednesday. This Wednesday. They're closed until Wednesday. How are people going to do their laundry? They don't keep it open at night. Anyway, whatever.
Dude, I got a rant about that. So, the sign on the door of the laundry facilities says 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Great. That seems like a pretty reasonable time to be open. Yeah. 12 hours out of the day. Perfect. The sign inside says 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, still not bad. Turns out they're actually only open from 11 to 6.
Yeah.
Because the first time we had done laundry at the facilities here, we start the washer. It's like, okay, it might be 11 to 7 that they keep it open, because it was like 6:30. I got home. We went and started our laundry. Then, we got the notification because they use theirs through an app, which I think is handy. But it says, oh, hey, your wash is done. We go to open the door. It's locked. All my work clothes are in there, and I have work the next morning. So I have no work clothes. So we have to go and hunt down security to unlock the door. And he's like, yeah, I know it says this on the sign, but they actually lock it up like an hour after they close the office. I'm like, huh?
So we found this one laundromat close to us. It's like 10-15 minutes. About
10 minutes, long as there's no heavy traffic or snow.
But we found that, and so that's just old reliable. I mean, they're always open. They were open today in the snow. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm not gonna say it's like too much cheaper than over here.
Yeah.
But it's cheaper if you have a lot of laundry to do. Throwing shade at one of our neighbors in the apartment complex that decides to do 5 loads of laundry in one day and takes up all the washers and dryers.
To preface, there's only 5 washers and 3 dryers, and one of the 3 dryers
busted.
Doesn't work always. Like the last time I was able to do laundry in there by myself, all 3 dryers were working, so it was no big deal. But usually that middle one's gone. It's done.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
So I don't know why. Like, and I'm not gonna try to shame people, be like, oh, you're disgusting, but at the same time, right? If you know you have that much laundry, try to plan it out to where you're doing it every week.
Yeah.
I don't know everyone's situations off the top of my head, so I don't know. Maybe it's a situation she's not home but once every 2 weeks. And if that's the case, then okay, fine. But if you're just staying at home and you know that there's limited resources for about 100 plus people in your apartment complex to do their laundry, please don't take up all the machines.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, like, you're gonna save more money if you use a 5 load
at a laundromat. Yeah. So
like
please.
when we do bedding, we either wait till we're at his dad's house,
or we just go to the laundromat and do everything there.
Yeah.
Like, we're not gonna take up a whole washer and dryer just for bedding, because that's not fair to everybody else.
Yeah, but yeah, so
anyway, apartment ranting aside, how are you?
I mean, I'm pretty good lately. Seasonal depression is slowing down. Regular depression's still there sometimes. But seasonal depression, when it's added on top of the regular depression, it makes it so much worse. But without the seasonal depression, it's like we're okay.
Just a little bit of extra spice on top.
I can handle it. We're good. How are you?
I am good. I streamed for 5 hours last night, 5.5 hours, as you know.
Yeah.
I played Mario 64 for about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. And then we played Mario Party, and at turn 16, I was like, man, you know what? This is fun. I'm feeling turning it up to 30 turns instead of 25. I wish I left it at 25, because my head started killing me.
No, it was awful.
During the stream, I have to ask Summer, I'm like, hey, can you bring me ibuprofen? Whenever she goes to hand it to me, my hand is shaking because of how bad my head hurts.
I thought he was mad, TBH. I thought he was just angry.
No, see, I don't really shake like that when I'm mad. But, like, my head was just, so I had to turn down the volume on my headphones by half.
Oh, really?
And then I just kept, like, massaging my head. So, if anybody watched that stream, sorry it wasn't as entertaining as it could have been.
Yeah, and then, Dan, the game was handed to him. The win was handed.
Especially right at the end. Like, during the middle of the game, whenever, he was at 3, me and Caleb were at 2, and you were at 1. I was like, okay, it's a spread of 1 star, granted the exception of Summer. So, it's fine. But then, the game started handing him stars. There was one point, he rolled a triple dice, got like a 22 or something like that. He gets the star, and then it literally gets placed 10 spaces in front of him. So it's like, dude, you're handing him 2 stars in 1 turn. Yeah. Luckily, I hit a chance time at the end of the game and made it to where the entire game was decided by bonus stars. We all ended the game with 7 stars.
Yeah. And
but Dan still won. Why do we invite this guy to play?
True, that's what I'm saying.
Like, why do
when he says, oh, I'm not sure if I can play, we should just be like, okay, cool, thanks.
Cool. We'll put like a hard computer in place of you or something like that.
We'll call up Colton or Izzy.
Yeah.
Izzy couldn't, but call up Colton. Be like, hey.
But yeah, that... Ooh...
I mean, there was one mini game though. That mini game, it's where you press down on the levers and Bowser decides it counts down or it goes.
Oh wait, no, you're talking about the bomb. I thought you were talking about how you inflate him, and I was gonna make an inflation joke.
No, he's like a bomb, and so we played that. Dan's out immediately.
Yeah, first lever he presses. Out.
He was gone. Good. Give
and then
someone
it goes
else that
on
deserves a
for
win.
like 10 rounds of us not hitting it. And at this point, me and Kayla were both screaming. We're like, I don't even care if I lose. I just want somebody to blow up.
To win.
I'm planning on like clipping that down even though it's going to be a long clip for TikTok and Instagram, but like I wrote down the timestamp where it happened. So I'm planning on clipping that down just so hopefully if you guys check me out, that one nerd Jacob on literally everything, you can see just how ridiculous this is.
It was awful. But then Jacob finally gets out. Thank God. And then it's me and Caleb, and I'm over here like, oh my God.
For another, like, what, 6 rounds?
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, just let me win.
I've never seen that minigame last longer than, like, 8 rounds. So,
spoiler alert, I won.
Yeah, she won.
So.
But, like, the fact that it went on for as long as it did,
oh my God.
it had us, or at least 2 of us screaming to just kill me, please.
Yeah. Freaking Caleb just kept picking the same thing. He kept picking yellow, and it just would not get him out. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, he picked yellow like 4 rounds in a row.
It was always up to me to like with the 50-50, and if you watch my TikToks, I'm decent at 50-50s. I mean, obviously not all the time I'm gonna pick the right one, but thankfully I did, because I was like, I don't want to lose. I'm not trying to lose. I'm not a loser.
But yeah, that was stupid.
It was pretty.
Next time we play Mario Party, though, I'm not inviting Dan.
Poor Dan.
Dan, if you're watching, Mr. Diabolical Double Dice Dan, you're not allowed. You're banned from the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Freaking Zach watches this. You leave Dan alone, like in the comments.
Dude, I know, the sympathizer.
Diabetic Dan.
Okay, speaking of Mickey Mouse, I want to get your thoughts on this. I will preface just this whole podcast by saying a lot of the stuff we might talk about might be stuff that we've talked about in person before.
Yeah.
Just because, we live together. So, How do you feel now that Steamboat Willie is in the public domain that there are at least 2 confirmed horror movies and 3 confirmed horror games coming out of Steamboat Willie? I
think that we shouldn't be ruining little kids' shows / things. Like, Mickey Mouse is like, a lot, that's an icon for kids. People love Mickey Mouse. Like, there is some element of like creepiness behind, like, especially like if you look into older Disney stuff, and like not film and stuff, but like the parks. Like if you look at old pictures of like,
especially
Mickey
like
Mouse,
decrepit rides and stuff.
Yeah, like there are some, like, I know there's a creepypasta about like this broken down like Disney resort or whatever. I don't know. It's been a while. I had a huge creepypasta phase when I was like 13. But I mean, didn't we all? I mean, Jeff the Killer, Slender Man.
Dude, creepypastas used to be my thing.
I was one of those girls that was like, oh my God, Jeff the Killer.
I was one of those guys that would, like, as soon as I got a phone, whenever I turned 12 after my mom passed, I would read creepypastas at night like an idiot.
Oh, I would
and
do
then
that.
I'd be terrified to go to bed.
No, I would listen. Because I had a TV and I would go on my Wii, which I'm pretty sure my Wii, and it had YouTube.
Yeah.
You could get
Wii's were able to access like YouTube,
sure. I knew
Netflix.
It could access the internet, like on games.
Okay, but I think that might be what it was, because the Wii had a web browser. I don't think there was a YouTube app. There was a Netflix app, but I remember vividly going onto YouTube through the Wii browser.
Yeah. So I would do that. I would go to YouTube and I would just put on this channel. I don't know if there's still a thing, but Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, and I would just listen to scary stories as I went to bed. They would put me to sleep.
Ironically, as much as I hated scary stuff as a kid, horror's got to be one of my favorite genres of anything now.
Totally my favorite genre.
And the thing is,
games.
I hate getting scared too. Like, if you go to my YouTube channel and look at my old Outlast stuff, I would literally cower in fear, and I'm like, I don't want to go, but I'm gonna.
I played and finished Outlast last year. And
I just realized I never got to finish Outlast since my laptop is too bunk to play anything. I was about to say, you downloaded it on my Switch. Yeah. I don't know if I want to play it on stream, but I do want to go through and play it, because even though I hated it, I love it at the same time. It's one of those things, it's like, I don't hate it because it's bad. I hate it because it scares me so bad.
I remember that was one of the first games I watched like PewDiePie and Markiplier play, because I was big into them at one point. I mean, I still like will go back and watch some things. I prefer watching people play horror games So
I think horror games are just more like enjoyable to
they're
watch.
more entertaining story and plot wise. Like it scares me, and then it's fun to watch how they react to different things. And so that's one of the first games I watched. So the first time I got to play Outlast, it was my freshman year of college. This guy that simped for my roommate. He did. He was so in love with her.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He left his Xbox in our dorm because he wanted her to have like nice things, but he let me play Outlast because he had it. I was like, hey, do you mind since she's like gone to work? And he was like, yeah, whatever, do whatever. He was trying to get me to play this other game. I want to say it's not Disney. It's not the Disney where you meet all the characters as Spencer's obsessed with it. I don't know what it's called.
Disney Wonderland or something like that? Is it the one that's like Animal Crossing?
No.
Oh wait, no, that wasn't out
That's
at
not
that
out. No.
point.
It was like it's a Disney game and you have them. You have those Disney games. They're Disney and it's not like a canon Disney movie character you play as, but they made a character for the game.
Just where like you
go
explore
through
the park?
No. You go through and you do like
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. Okay, it's not that, but to me, I get it mixed up with Kingdom Hearts.
How could I forget Kingdom Hearts?
What is the game? No, I don't know if you would know what I get mixed up with Kingdom Hearts, but it's a game that I get mixed up with Kingdom Hearts all the time. That's all you need to know. What?
I looked at my armpit and there's a stain.
Oh,
I saw it in the camera because I was stretching.
that's so funny.
Sorry, guys.
He was trying to get me to play that game. He was like, yeah, I think you'd like it. And make Rihanna play it too. And I was like, nah. And so I played Outlast and I finished it within like 2 days. And I was so obsessed. And then eventually I bought it on my Switch because I saw it on my Switch on sale. It was on sale. So I'm not gonna not buy it, you know? And then I played that at Jacob's house when he lived with his dad.
Yeah.
And so
That being said, since you brought up Kingdom Hearts, I feel like the combat system, Summer's not a big gamer. So if it requires pressing more than one button at a time,
I mean, you're not wrong.
It might be a struggle. But if you could get past the combat system, I really do think you would love the story of Kingdom Hearts.
I think I would too, and I know I would because I want to meet all the characters as what's his name?
Sora.
I kept wanting to say Sokka, but I knew it was gonna be stupid. I knew.
Sokka.
Speaking of, I'm so excited for the live adaptation.
Dude,
of
it
Avatar:
actually
The Last Airbender. It looks so good.
good.
So good.
Like I watched the trailer and I'm like, oh my god, they're putting effort into this. Unlike Aang and Sokka,
Appa.
We just need to all pretend as a society, right, that the live action Avatar movie never happened. I remember seeing it as a kid and I'm like, oh man, this is great because I was a kid and I didn't know better.
I was like, yeah, live action, this is cool. No, that's the same with like the Percy Jackson movies. Although, unpopular opinion, if you separate them from the books, the movies, from the books, if you pretend like they are not the same thing, the movies are decent.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. If you're going to use a franchise, and the franchise I always use it as an example for this is Halo. If you're going to use a franchise, you have to stick to the source material as much as possible and make it good. The Halo series on Paramount Plus, I remember I was so excited. I've been a huge Halo fan since I was like maybe 5 years old. First game I ever played with my brother and remember completing the campaign for was Halo 3. I love Halo. I hate how Halo's been handled recently, just because the games have gone bad since 343 no longer made them. But the Halo series, I was so hyped for. The first episode, kind of meh. You know, the combat sequence at the beginning, great. This felt like you were watching something straight out of the game that was really high quality. Amazing. Then the CGI started. And then they threw in this random child that you were supposed to feel sympathy for, even though she was so annoying.
Kick the kid.
And then, in the first episode, everyone knew, as soon as Halo was being made into a series, that Master Chief would take off his helmet. Everyone knew that going into it, but they were hoping for a Mandalorian situation where it was the last episode and it wasn't a big, or I guess it was a big deal, but they didn't make it like the biggest deal. It's like, oh yeah, you see his face for a solid minute, and then he puts the helmet back on. everyone was hoping for a Mandalorian situation. Nope. Into the first episode, Master Chief just takes off his helmet, and then the thing that made me stop watching it, it was either the second to last or third to last episode. They had Master Chief. We try to keep this podcast PG. They had Master Chief and a human Covenant spy, which you don't know what the Covenant are. The Covenant is an alien race that wants to eliminate the human race. But for some reason, they have a human spy. Mm-hmm. And her and Master Chief...
They do it?
Yes. Like, they make that a big deal. And the thing with me is it is confirmed in the books that Master Chief is asexual.
So they just erased that.
They straight up erased that. They made it to where it's like, they made it a thing. It's like, oh yeah, they have these inhibitor chips that make it to where they can't feel emotion. That is not how the Spartans are raised in the books. Like, yes, they are kidnapped as children. They got that aspect correct. They are forced to learn these things. They got that aspect correct. But they never had an inhibitor chip that made them not feel emotion. Most of the Spartans are asexual. Just because, you know, they're more worried about fighting off an entire alien race. The show is awful. It got greenlit for a season 2, and I think it got so much backlash for that they stopped it. And I am so glad. If they would have done it better and stuck to the source material. Like, the thing is, with Halo, and with a lot of games now, because a lot of them have book adaptations as well that add on to the lore of the series, you can't just go based off of certain things that you see within one aspect of the medium. Mm-hmm. Like, you have games, you have books, you have other movies that they have confirmed are canon, like Halo Nightfall with Spartan Locke. You have all this to go off of. I feel like if the Halo series, obviously they lashed it on to Halo so that way they could have a big name and get as many views as possible.
Yeah.
If it were a series on its own that was not Halo, I think it would be fine as a show. But it's the fact that they latched on to Halo like a parasite and then started just changing the lore to be whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I hate when things do that. I cannot stand it.
Yeah.
At all. Sorry, I had to get that rant out of the way after we talked about Percy Jackson.
But that being said, the Percy Jackson series on Disney Plus, chef's kiss. Leah's Annabeth. Amazing. I don't get all the backlash she's getting.
I want to watch it because Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge, plays Ares. Ares is the one with the sword, right?
Ares is the god of war.
Have you gotten to the episode where Percy Jackson is fighting the guy with the sword?
I don't know.
Okay, because that's a big thing in the trailer.
I don't think so.
Hang on, I'll look this up.
I don't think he fought Ares when I watched, from what I watched. I don't know.
Who does Adam?
It's Ares, though. He plays at Ares, because I'm pretty sure he's... Let me look.
Yeah, Ares.
I don't think he's fought him, and so I don't know if that's coming or if that was just something in the trailer. I don't know.
I know, because Disney does like doing a thing where it's like they'll put things in the trailer and then they'll take them out. Yeah.
Show.
Yeah, so I want to watch the show just because Edge is
I'll rewatch it with you.
He is my all-time favorite wrestler. Literally favorite of all time.
Okay.
I mean, he's Adam Copeland now because AEW.
Adam Copeland.
But either way, absolute fave.
That just reminded me of they showed a small clip of Lin in one of the it's like the last part of the episode.
Like Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Yeah, because he plays Hermes. He plays Hermes.
Yeah, I'm Hermes. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he was like singing along to the radio or like the elevator music, or he was either singing or humming. I just remember like texting Joe, because she watches as it comes out, and me too. I try to, and so I remember texting her and being like, "Not Lin," and
they got him.
It killed me. I love Lin-Manuel Miranda though. This is a anti-hate zone for Lin-Manuel. Like, I don't care.
He is kind of cringe sometimes, but I do love him.
But he's cringe like Jimmy Fallon is. Jimmy Fallon is also very cringe.
Yeah, it feels like they're being genuine people. They're down to earth. if you're a genuinely good person, cringe just happens sometimes.
Yeah, I think honestly, like Jimmy Fallon, like Lin-Manuel Miranda, people like that, they're just like the cool uncle that you want to like hang out with. If either of you ever see this, I love you both. We
love you both.
We love you.
Come on over to our studio.
Please.
Be on the podcast. If we could do like a video interview.
Yeah,
that would be
I would
cool.
love to meet either of them. I would love to meet Jimmy Fallon and just like hang out. I feel like
he gets too much hate for no reason.
Like,
I understand how people are like, oh yeah, he has to force a laugh. Well, like, yeah, that's probably the studio executive saying that. But he's so genuine with his guests.
He's so, and I mean, look at the way he treats his guests as compared to like Ellen, who, you know, can't.
And like, I told it to Summer, I'm like, Jimmy Fallon is like that cool uncle that comes over and makes the holidays fun.
Yeah.
Even if that uncle is kind of cringe and embarrassing sometimes, they still make the holidays fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's that situation.
I think Jimmy genuinely cares about the people he brings on a show. Like, I feel like he's just a genuine down-to-earth guy. And so if it ever comes out that he's like a bad person, I'll end up crying. I will cry.
Me
like,
with Markiplier or Jacksepticeye.
They will really hurt me. Oh, I was reading something about someone. They were like, oh, they're kind of mean to their people, or to people like meeting fans or something. I don't remember who it was, but I was like, it hurt me though. I was like, oh,
I hope it's no one I love.
I don't remember who it is, but I did see a TikTok about Orlando Bloom. He's a down-to-earth guy is what the TikTok was saying, although the whole time he was telling the story, I was like, Corbin Bleu, how do you confuse him with Will Schuester? Like, it's just the whole time I was like,
Summer.
I was thinking Corbin Bleu, and I was like, that's weird. I love Corbin Bleu.
So, back to what you were saying earlier with the Hunger Games.
Oh.
So, I'm reading the Hunger Games, like the actual book. She's reading Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. For my birthday, which still, thank you, I love it so much. She got me on Kindle the 4-book collection of, you know, Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, and Ballad of Songbird and Snakes.
It was a selfish purchase.
It was. So I started off with Hunger Games. She started off with Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, and we're leaving each other these little like notes as we read through, because you can like highlight things and then put a note for it. And I feel like I can't actually say some of the notes that I put on here, but some of them too, I'm just like trying to match it up geographically. Like there was one where it's like, oh yeah, the capital is in the Rockies. So I'm like, okay, the capital is around Colorado, which I love how in the movies, they don't really acknowledge that this is a devastated North America also after the water has come and taken out pretty much most of the coast.
Yeah.
Pan Am is North America. Like, let's just get that out of the way. It's North America after the sea levels rise, takes apart some of the coast. I wonder if we could learn from that. And it's the remains. So I learned that we, as Oklahomans, are in District 11.
Yeah.
We are in, which makes sense. Agriculture, it's a pretty big, you know, export here. All right, read one of the things that you have.
Okay, so this is a line from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, of course.
Spoiler alert!
Oh, spoiler alert. I mean, if you've seen the movie, you've seen the scene. If you haven't, this is it's not even a big spoiler. Like, it's not... I mean, it's not going to ruin your experience. But, so, it's the part where Lucy Gray puts the snake in, oh, what's her name? It doesn't even say her name. The mayor's daughter's dress. I don't remember. I think it's like Mayfair. Yeah, Mayfair. So she puts the snake in her dress. Okay, well, so this line says, as her father tried to help her to her feet, it was apparent she had wet herself. So I highlighted that it was apparent she wet herself in yellow. I highlighted it in yellow because I'm funny. And I said, Lil Pee-Pee Piss Girl. That's
so,
I thought that was so funny.
One that I highlighted. It was small bluish tubers that don't look like much, but boiled or baked are as good as any potato. Katniss, I said aloud. And I said, I love how it took a movie 10 plus years after the original to mention how the main character is named after a potato.
True. True. I feel so bad for Katniss. Like, she's named after a potato, and then Primrose. That's just such a pretty name. Like, it's like Primrose, and then you have Potato over here.
Oh, Potato.
The mom. Yeah, my daughters, my lovely daughters, Primrose and Potato.
And the funny thing, too, is on the train to the Capitol, right, which I've already told Summer about it.
Yeah.
Half of the lines that Peeta has in the movie are actually things that Katniss says. Like, whenever Peeta's like, yeah, you're supposed to train us, you're our mentor, Katniss is the one that says that. Yeah. And I swear, I feel like they reprinted it and changed up some of the wording, but I vividly remember in the book, Peeta absolutely bawling his eyes out whenever they get to the Capitol. But in the book, it's just like the movie. He's excited. He's trying to put on a good show for them. I genuinely remember reading, like, Peeta crying whenever they get to the Capitol. I don't know why I remember it that way, but I've remembered it that way for 10 plus years. Because I remember whenever the first movie came out, I went ahead and read through the books, and I vividly remember Peeta crying in that scene.
I remember I started reading the books before the movie was announced. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, I liked it before it was cool, because it was a growing book. Like, this book series, everyone in my school was reading it. Like, they had like a lot of copies of all 3 books. But my friends were like, hey, you should read this book. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll read it. So I checked it out. I read it. I remember, like, as I checked it out, I would read it in the cave scene. I was like, and I tried to like put myself into the world. Like, I was a big reader, guys. I was a huge reader. I would immerse myself into this like
Immerse.
Whatever.
Emerge is to come out.
Yeah. I would immerse myself into the world of like just the Hunger Games, and I was like, man. And so I just have this deep connection. And then the movie was announced, and I was like, so I went and saw it, of course.
When did you see it? Like, how long after it came out in theaters?
I don't remember.
Because I'm gonna humble brag here.
I genuinely don't remember, because I don't have the best memory.
So, I remember I was in 5th or 6th grade whenever this movie came out. And I begged my dad. I said, please let me go to the midnight premiere. I mean, at this point, I couldn't drive, and the closest movie theater was about 45 minutes away. Lived in a small town called Dixon, New Mexico. Closest city was Espanola, and even then, the movie theater was on the outskirt of that town, the opposite of where we drove in from. So I begged him. I'm like, please take me to the midnight premiere. And this was like a Thursday night.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, you have to promise that you'll be able to get up for school in the morning, and you won't fall asleep in class. And I'm like, yes, I can do it. So we get there. Midnight, movie starts. And I still remember watching the movie. At one point, the sound cuts out, and the entire theater starts screaming like, hey, come on! it was only out for like 30 seconds, and it was during a scene that wasn't super important, so it's not like we missed a whole lot. But I remember the movie got done at like 2:30. And then we don't get home until close to 3:30.
Yeah.
And I wake up every morning at 6:30 for school. And I napped a little bit on the car ride home. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I stayed up super pumped about it. Like, I was able to get some sleep, but then I woke up at 6:30 the next day. Beat my dad. I almost said beat him up. And that's,
beat my dad
I beat my dad waking up. Like, normally he wakes up well before I do. So I got up, got everything ready, made myself breakfast, and then woke him up just being like, hey, I'm going to school now.
Bye.
And I was wide awake. And then not the next day, but like that morning, I get to math class, and my math teacher pulls me aside. She's like, what did you think of the movie? I'm like, what? She's like, I saw you at the premiere, but I didn't want to say anything because I figured that might be a little bit awkward for your teacher to be stopping you in the middle of a movie theater. And I'm just like, you were there too? She's like, oh, I love those books. And I'm just like, we had a solid 10-minute conversation about the movie, me and my 5th or 6th grade math teacher. Again, I know it was one of those 2 years because it was before I left elementary school. Elementary school in New Mexico is 6th grade still as well. So that's why I'm saying, 6th grade. I knew it was my later years of elementary school.
Yeah, I don't remember when I saw it, but I do remember seeing it. I was huge into it. I was like, wow. And then, I read all the books, and I was chef's kiss. I love Suzanne Collins' writing. I loved her with the Hunger Games.
She's very descriptive. Like, a lot more descriptive than most other authors.
I'm pretty sure. I don't want to say it before I, say it, or I don't want to, like be wrong, that is. Okay, yes, okay. I love her Gregor the Overlander series.
What's that?
What is Gregor the Overlander?
Well, tell me about
God,
it. Tell me
Gregor
about
the
it. Hey,
Overlander.
we're copying from those nerds on
Oh
a
my God.
podcast. She's gonna nerd out.
Okay, Gregor the Overlander. This is a series. We read the first book when I was in 4th grade in my reading class. I read every book after that. I was like, I have to. So it's about this kid Gregor. I don't remember much. I want to reread them, but I'm waiting for them to be out on my library app because I'm pretty sure they have the audiobooks and then the other books. So Gregor the Overlander is about this boy Gregor and his sister Boots, I'm pretty sure is her name. And so they're poor and it's in the middle of summer. They somehow from their laundry room end up in this place called like the Underland or something. Don't quote me.
5 books?
There's 5 books.
Yeah.
Oh, of Gregor.
I'm looking this up in case it's something I wind up wanting to read.
I don't remember much about it, but I do remember it was so good and I was so obsessed and I love her writing. And she's so good. She's so good. Make a Gregor the Overlander series, please. But anyway, so they like, I don't know, they ride like rats and bats and I don't remember much. I wish I remembered more. I just remember loving them. I love them. Another book series that I really love and
Side tangent, I didn't realize that the Hunger Games books came out in 2008 through 2010.
Oh.
I thought they were like a year or two before the movies.
Oh, nah. But okay, so another book series that I really like is a series of unfortunate events. Those
See, I do know that.
all those
I
books
do know
are
that.
perfect, perfection. I love it. Love the writing, amazing. But I will say I did not like the movie adaptation. It was the only thing I had, so I did like it. If you separate it from the books, you know it's good. But the Netflix series, actual perfection. Netflix did it very well. The ages were on par, you know. They did each season, I think, was because they only had 3 seasons, they lumped up like 3 books at a time. I'm pretty sure they did like 2 episodes per book. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I watched it. I watched it when it first came out and it was amazing. But I like how they kept it up and did every book. Like you got that finish, that ending. Whereas the movie, they lumped 3 books in, never touched it again. Like you don't know what happens to them. Like, but in Neil Patrick Harris, perfect Count Olaf. I mean Jim Carrey. I'm pretty sure Jim Carrey. Yeah.
I love Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey was good. I'm pretty sure it was Jim Carrey. Because I remember the commercial going, Jim Carrey. But, just Neil Patrick Harris as Count Olaf. I'm going to type in movie, because I
looked up
Jim
Gregor
Carrey.
the Overlander and Pantech Trilogy, young adult dystopian.
I love dystopian books. Like, where did that genre go?
I don't know, but
Like-
my 3 favorite books in like elementary school and middle school, like, and when I say books, I mean series.
Yeah.
Hunger Games,
Games,
Divergent, and
Divergent.
Maze Runner.
I didn't read The Maze Runner. I want to.
I will say, I think that Divergent and Hunger Games are better book series than Maze Runner, but I still liked
Fair.
it. But yeah, I don't know why I love those like dystopian type
Oh, no,
books so bad.
they're amazing.
Since this is
I will
free
say-
on Kindle,
We should get a Kindle account.
we have a Kindle account.
Oh.
That's
Well, I thought it meant like, yeah, Kindle Unlimited. That's what it meant. But no, I just love that kind of genre, like the dystopian.
we'll start the 30-day free trial when we're ready to read it.
The dystopian like ooh, they're just perfection. I will be honest though, I didn't read the Divergent books because I remember my mom was reading them and I'm such a big like if I know my mom gets into something, I physically can't get into it just because she'll like what she would do. I was not a big Harry Potter person because my mom, she would watch the first movie, and she'd watch it 50 billion times. 50 billion times, just the first movie, and then she'd move on to the second movie 50 billion times, third 50 billion times, and so it just annoyed me. So I'm not a big Harry Potter person because of that. Also because, you know, J.K. Rowling is, you know, transphobic and all that, but...
Okay. I sent us a sample of this trilogy.
Okay.
And it's only 530 pages for 3 books.
Oh, okay. Well, not bad. But, yeah, so, and then she was into Twilight. I'm not gonna lie, I give Twilight another try. It's... I mean, they're funny. They're funny. I'll say that. I'll be nice to them. They're funny. I won't read the books, but the movies are funny.
I don't know why. My dad loves the Twilight movies. He thinks that they are like peak cinema.
Nah, me with the Hunger Games though. Peak cinema.
I mean, the Hunger Games are peak cinema though.
They are.
Twilight is not. I remember, like, I'll watch them just to laugh at them. I remember whenever I was going to visit Connor in Stillwater, whenever he was still in college.
Yeah.
I remember him being like, hey, I'm gonna force you to watch Twilight so we can laugh at it. I'm like, honestly, fair. And then I didn't pay attention the whole time.
I watched it.
The movies are so poorly written, and apparently he read a thing, he's like, yeah, the movie was bad on purpose. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they're saying that because they realized how negative reception everyone got.
Yeah, I think so I watched the movies recently because they were free on YouTube, and then in the middle of freaking... What's the one before the one they split into 2 parts?
New Moon. Oh wait, no, that's the one they did.
Second one.
Oh wait, no, Eclipse was that
Twilight, New Moon. It's Eclipse, and then Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2. Well, so I was in the middle of Eclipse when they took it off the free YouTube. Like, I got that far. I just wanted...
Why did Jacob imprint on a baby?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. He said...
He looked at that newborn and said...
He said, I'm feeling things.
Like, bro, that is not okay.
You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster? Like, I just wanted to get there for the...
I don't know if that was a thing that was in the books first or the movies.
I'm pretty sure the books.
But why would you do that? That is not okay. That is creepy. Having a... He was 17 at that point, right?
I want to say he was 18.
Okay, well, still, either way, having a late teen imprint on a newborn baby.
Yeah, and like I get imprinting doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, we're soulmates, we're gonna be together forever. It could just mean like oh, I'm protective of you, but it's still like...
I feel like the way it was implied was it's gonna be a grooming situation where Jacob's like, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you.
Yeah,
Your mom wanted a vampire, I'll wait for you.
Yeah, I genuinely... But I will say I can appreciate like the backstory of like Rosalie, because it like she was SA'd. And it was like, this is kind of why. And she wasn't mean to Bella, like, because everyone hates her apparently. I love her. She wasn't mean to Bella because she was just mean to Bella. It was oh, Bella wants to be a vampire, but I want to tell her, like, hey, I didn't get that choice.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to be able to use your words and have a choice. And, you know, it just... I love Rosalie.
Yeah.
My baby.
Oh,
I love all the mean blondes.
Speaking of books, though, that we read, as a kid, did you ever read the Bone graphic novel series?
No.
Oh
I don't think so.
I'm going to look this up. They had these in my library in New Mexico.
I read a lot of the Magic Tree House when I was like a kid.
This.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I didn't read graphic novels, though.
Those, Bone was some of my favorite graphic novel books. Jeez, it looks like there's a lot more than I realized.
I read the Narnia,
I'm gonna see how much these are.
The Chronicles of Narnia. I read some of those. They were pretty good. I didn't read all of them. I remember I ended up stopping. I do remember I loved this series called like My Sister the Vampire, and it's about twins separated at birth, and one's a vampire and one's not. That was peak book writing for me right there. Like, it was so good. I love those series. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, when I got to college, I got bored one day. They were on my little library app. I read them. Really good.
I guess there were only 9
I
books.
needed
thought there were more.
nostalgia.
There's not a thing to buy on Kindle.
Oh, cringe.
I'm sad. Dude, that was like... 10 book set? Are there 9 or are there 10?
I don't know.
Oh, this one focuses on Rose. This one's more of like a spin-off. But no, like, as a kid, those were my go-to books to check out in elementary school. And like, even back then, I read comics, I read graphic novels, but I wasn't the biggest on them. I was a very slow reader, and I still am, which is what made me kind of dislike reading in school, unless I got something that I just absolutely loved and couldn't put down. If I started reading a book and it bored me in the first 2 chapters, mixed with how slow I would read for tests or whenever we would have to give presentations on our book, I would just look up a summary,
Mode.
change my words on that, and I never got in trouble. Kids, don't plagiarize.
No
I
kids.
got away with it. Don't
You
try
won't.
to.
You won't.
You will not.
They've
The
updated
internet.
technology.
I was about to say, the internet is so much crazier now. Like, even back when I was in elementary school and middle school, the internet was still pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Now it is so powerful, they can look that up with maybe 3 clicks.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, like when you get to college, if
they don't care.
they do care.
No, they don't.
Oh, some professors do. No, I was gonna say when you get to college, they're like at least what we used when I was like my first 4 years, because I went for 5, and that was COVID related. But there was a technology in the thing that it automatically like flagged if you plagiarized, and I was like, or if it like even seems similar, or if you needed to, if they're like, oh, you need to cite this source, it would flag it and be like, hey, if you don't fix this, you're getting a 0. And I was like,
Now, one thing that I have to think of is nowadays they advertise AIs like ChatGPT that can just straight up write essays
it
for
for
you.
you, yeah.
I wonder if that also means that, you know, educators and things are trying to work on technology that can use a tool to flag if something was written by AI.
maybe.
Because I've read some things that are typed by AI, and it's so obvious that it's written by AI, but then I've read some other things where it's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
That's not an actual person that wrote this. AI is terrifying.
It's
I want to talk about how much I hate the AI movement.
Yeah.
Like, I got an email on my work email from our payroll company that talks about how to subsidize pay if you're using AI tools more than human tools. That, like, the fact that payroll companies are having to send that out means that they're expecting more and more people to switch to just AI, and people are going to lose jobs because of it.
Yeah.
AI is never going to be a replacement for human work or creativity.
Yeah,
I love the things that are comedic, like the AI president's meme when that was a thing, or
Yeah.
people that don't normally sing having their voices put over somebody else's. I love those. Those are perfect examples of being creative. But then people will try to go out and be like, oh, well, check out this AI art that I made. You didn't make it. You put in a prompt. That, like, I love the idea of using AI as like a guide on how to maybe visualize something for you to draw. I hate when people just say, I made this, and then present AI art.
Yeah.
There's a reason why AI art is not protected by copyright.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You're not doing anything. You're putting in a prompt and waiting for 2 minutes for it to spit that prompt back out at you. Like, trying to make musicians make music. There was one guy who said he made a song featuring the hottest rap artists. It was just him, but then he overlaid their vocals. That is not okay.
That's not okay.
That's creepy. That's weird. That's also how you get sued. And then people that use AI to write things like songs or poetry, at that point, you are not, creative.
No.
Here's the thing. Again, I'm all for using it as a tool to aid in creativity and aid in other things. Like, one thing that creeped me out, I saw a commercial for H&R Block where now you can do your taxes with an AI. Not a representative, which, first of all, tax companies, kind of a scam to begin with. But the fact that they're going to AI for that instead is terrifying.
Yeah, I also think taxes, like, the government knows how much you owe.
It's a guessing game.
Yeah, and it's like, if you get one little number wrong, you could be fined or put in jail.
And see, before anyone's like, oh, well, the government doesn't actually know, how come they don't? How come, like, tell me why they don't. Yeah. Because they know when we get the number wrong so they can audit us or anything. I love the way other countries do it. They either send you a bill if you still owe money for taxes, or they send you a check for taxes that you're getting back. They don't leave it as a guessing game, and everyone knows that it's all lobbying. It's like these tax companies, hey, here's $1 billion. Let us keep doing things our way. And, you know, you can share this $1 billion. I hate how, I'm sorry this got political. I hate how politics is now no longer senators or congress people trying to do best for the people. It's them trying to get a paycheck. That is not what our government was supposed to be. It is literally, you are there as a servant of the people. The fact that you could go into politics as a career is terrifying. It was never meant to be a career. It was supposed to be you putting your life aside to help out other people in your country.
And I feel like there should be like an age limit, because like all these old people that just hold on to this position of power when, you know, they don't even they can't even use a computer.
Like Dianne Feinstein,
get them
who
out.
died last year. She was 98. 98. I am under the personal belief that the forced age, or the age that you should be forced out of government at the end of the term, which also term limits need to be a thing in every branch of government.
Every branch.
It should be no older than 70, about 5 years after retirement age. Like, that's the way I look at it, because once you hit 70, especially if you have some sort of thing like dementia or Alzheimer's that runs in your family, that's when your mental state starts to go down. So like, once you hit 70, if you're already in the middle of the term, cool, you can finish that out. You know, it's not like you're going to be immediately kicked out once you turn 70. But after that, you cannot run unless it's for like a small local office that does not determine the future of nearly 400 million people.
Also, people trying to like say that we need to change the voting age from 18 to 21.
That's people that are afraid of the youth. And I'm not going to call out sides, but we all know which side is wanting to raise the voting age because they know that their voting majority is older people, and we know the party that's wanting to encourage young voters because the young voters are the ones that are going to be living in this world.
Like it's our futures.
So, like, I'm just saying, the fact that one half of the government is lobbying so hard for the voting age to be raised, that should be so much of a eyebrow-raising concern. That's like, yeah, they're afraid of these younger voters because they know that they don't have their attention anymore. Like, politics before, I want to say 2016, whenever everything became polarized to hard right or hard left. Before that, honestly, I feel like both parties were considered good parties. Yes, there were some issues that were deal breakers for one and deal breakers for the other. But for the most part, they all had common sense. They all cared about a majority of people, not just the people that aligned with them, but people that aligned on the other side as well and tried to reach across the aisle. And then after 2016, politics have just become so polarized to the point where it's like, why should I vote if I know that one half of the country is going to try to incite riots while the other half of the country is happy? I miss the days when politics were, let's be good for people no matter what they believe in. Now it's, let's be good to the people that believe in what I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, again, I'm not going to try to name sides or anything. I think if anybody here watching this follows me personally, I feel like you know where my stance on politics is.
And
that's not what this podcast is for, although this rant might be proving that wrong.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry, but I mean, politics are just such a divisive thing now. And it's hilarious how we're the United States of America and other countries look at our news and laugh at how divided we are.
Can I take a second just off topic and show
No,
off?
let's get off this topic in general.
Let's just help me show off the blanket that my work friend Terry got me for Christmas. She's so sweet. She also gave me this Taylor Swift piano book because I got Jacob a keyboard. And so I just wanted to show that off because she might be watching. She said she would subscribe. And
sorry if you had to listen to that political rant.
I mean, She aligns with my beliefs, so we talk. We rant at work. We'll
That's
sit
fair.
there and
That's fair.
I'll be like, Terry, oh my god.
That being said, hopefully this is the only episode where we accidentally get into a political rant.
Hopefully.
That being said, it is 2024, so
Yeah, this is luckily we re-registered to vote in our area, so we can actually participate in future elections and vote and all that,
yeah.
which I'm
Yeah.
very thankful for because we
Completely forgot the last election.
Yeah.
And by the time we realized, we wouldn't have been able to vote anyway because it was
Yeah.
too late to register.
We did, though I do remember during COVID year, we voted for, that was my first time getting to
Same.
vote for the presidential election.
Yeah.
And I remember Kanye was still on our ballots.
Dude, seeing Kanye
We got-
West
we got
on a
the-
ballot was
we got
insane.
the write-in ballots because, COVID, we're not going to the polls. We got it mailed to our addresses, and we sat there and we filled them out and we took them to the post office.
And before anyone tries to say like, oh, I know your side and you only voted for that, I voted both ends of the spectrum based off of what my beliefs were. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I wrote in full party. Like,
Yeah.
there were a couple on other ends of the aisle that I voted for, just because I don't look at politics as purely left or right. I look at it as, what do your beliefs align with mine?
Yeah.
Where can we find a middle ground on that I can support you?
Yeah, and we looked them up. Like, if we didn't know the candidate, we looked them up, and we were like,
Yeah,
okay.
we actively did
We
research.
did research as we were filling it out. Like, I voted for, at the time I was in Tulsa County, so I voted for the Tulsa County things, and I was looking up and being like, okay, who aligns with what I believe in this,
Yeah.
this, and this. But, like, with...
So that's another thing I want to point out is, like, I know, at least me personally, I can't speak for you. I'm not just going to be like straight party every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my research. I mean, that's how everybody should do it. If
Yeah.
you're going out to vote, you need to do your own research.
Yeah, you don't need to just be like, oh, well, this person's a Democrat or this person's a
Yeah.
Republican. Like, I'm only going to vote for that side.
Or you shouldn't just watch like Fox News and be like, okay, this person's bad.
Or
and this
CNN.
person-
Like,
or
you can't
CNN.
look at either of the
Yeah.
extremely polarized
Yeah.
news stations, because guess what? They're not there to inform you. They're there to push a narrative that they want
Yeah.
for the country.
What you do is you watch Saturday Night Live, and whoever has the funniest like person playing them is who you vote for.
So you've got Alec Baldwin Trump or Jim Carrey Biden. Which
Okay,
one?
Jim Carrey, let's go all the way.
Oh my god, I'm not
Why
looking.
did I imagine Will Ferrell though? When I was thinking Jim Carrey, I was like, huh.
I'm not looking forward to this election
I-
though. I'm not gonna get too
There's
into
a
it.
certain person I want to run, but I don't think they're going to.
No, definitely not. It's too late.
Yeah. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
I'll have to do my research then, because I don't get political things on my stuff. I make it very.
I try to avoid politics
I
wherever
keep
possible.
my For You pages on everything. I keep politics out just because I've gotten into some Facebook fights, mainly with Jacob's brother. I will say that. I will put that out there. No offense, sorry. But
Do you think he's gonna watch?
no, I do not. But so, I mean, I have gotten into some things about my beliefs, and I'm like, you're on my page, get off. Like, get off of my page. Because it was on my page. He commented on a few things.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I just try to not get political. Especially during the 2020 election, my entire Twitter became me posting my political beliefs, me going out of my way to slam others for their beliefs. And like, people have their beliefs for reasons. Not all of them are always good reasons, but people do have their beliefs for reasons. So I'm like, I'm just gonna avoid posting about politics in general ever again, unless it becomes just such a massive issue that it genuinely terrifies me.
yeah, I say I do post some things, I share some things, especially if it's like a pressing matter in my opinion. And I'm like, hey, we need to call out attention to this, but I don't try and go out of my way to comment on things. Like, my mom will share all this stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, I'll read it, I'll look through, and I'll see it, and I'll be like, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to comment unless it's so ignorant that I'm like, hey, check your facts.
I think that's another thing too, is like, a majority of people, once they align to their side, they don't want to look up what's on the other side, because it's like, oh, well, I don't believe that, so it's not true.
Yeah.
Things can be true even if you don't believe it to be true. That's why I always tell people, like, just go out and do research.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what a news host is telling you. Don't listen to what your Facebook feed is telling you. Don't listen to what your Uncle Bob is telling you. Do your own research in a way that you see fit. Yes, it's going to take time out of your day. Yes, it might make you question what you've been believing for years. But guess what? If you are questioning your beliefs, then that means you are, no matter what, you are a sane, reasonable human. Because if you live in a world where you feel like you never have to question your beliefs, you're ignorant. There's a lot of things that I used to just be like, oh yeah, I firmly believe this. And then I started going out and looking at it. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I was wrong all those years.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, if you just stick to one thing and then you ignore all of like what is happening with it, if you're like, oh, I'm very for this person, and then you ignore their flaws. I mean, like, especially with presidents, they aren't there for us to worship. They are not, they don't speak
Political
for Jesus,
figures,
they don't speak for God.
Political figures should not be worshipped as you would a religious figure. And that's the thing, is like, and I see this on both sides.
Yeah.
One side worse than the other. Again, I'm not gonna get into it, but people going out and worshiping politicians, they're not there for your praise. They are there to be your voice. And guess what? If that person doesn't align with your voice, don't worship them. If they do align with your voice, don't worship them. They are not to be put up on a pedestal. That's the thing. Politicians are not celebrities.
Yeah.
Politicians are not religious figures. Politicians are public servants. That is all they are. That is all they ever should be considered.
Yeah, and like, you can't ignore, like, if someone does something bad, like, I mean, personally, the person that I voted for last election is doing some very questionable things right now.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
And we have to hold them accountable, because it's not like, oh, you should just go along with it and be like, yeah, yes, I agree.
I support everything this person does.
Unless you genuinely do support what they're doing, you shouldn't be, like, we need to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Like, cancel culture isn't bad if it's deserved. Like,
yeah, now, like,
Ballinger, Dream.
Yeah, now, like, if it's a situation where you're canceling someone because they didn't want to give you a hug at a convention or something, then you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Or if you're having to dig something up that someone did. I say if they did something 10 years ago and they've acknowledged it and apologized for it and have genuinely changed their actions, digging that up is not gonna do you anything. If anything, it makes you look obsessed on their downfall.
Yeah, and also, like, sometimes, like, I don't want to say, like, oh, it was a different time. Like, sometimes it is a different time. Like, some things were genuinely more accepted back then.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll use me as an example. When I was in, like, middle school, I was the type that would be like, oh, like, oh, you're gay, like, oh. But
that was also before it was massively socially acceptable.
That too. And I've grown, and now, I identify as part of the LGBTQIA community.
And, like, another example that I like bringing up is, like, a lot of the jokes in Looney Tunes. There's a lot of horribly racist things in there.
Yeah.
But also they were products of their time. I'm not gonna sit here and defend them like crazy and be like, yeah, I still watch them every day. I think they're hilarious. Like, they deserve to be held accountable, but at the same time, the 50s, 60s, and 70s were a completely different time, and you can't judge something that happened in such a different time to today's standards.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. If you say that you don't watch it because you don't support those jokes, that's fine.
Yeah.
That is completely understandable.
Is
if you don't want to watch something because you don't agree with how it was written back in the day, I support that. There's some things that I do that for.
Yeah.
But you can't just straight up say, like, oh yeah, this thing is only pure evil just because it doesn't align with what your standard of how things should be in 2024 are.
Yeah. But back to, like, me, because I want to, like, clear this up. Like, just back in middle school, like my parents, or I'll say my dad was extremely homophobic. I mean, I'm sure he still is. I don't know.
Probably.
I haven't talked to him in years.
Good.
But so like, but once I got to high school, like more people were part of the LGBT, and I was like, oh, you know, they just want to love who they love. And I realized that, and like, you know, branching out and meeting new people and like talking to people and just, you know, different media showing that like it's okay to love who you love, because it's just love. At the end of the day, it's just love. And so I grew a lot from that. And I, you know, started identifying, like I started questioning my sexuality when I was, I think, a junior year into senior year. I started questioning everything.
I straight up thought she was a lesbian because she was talking to women. That's why I never asked her out as early as I did.
Yeah, we could have been together way before, but I was like talking to two different girls. And by that, I mean, one of them was taken and I wasn't talking to her. I just had a crush.
But see, that's my thing too, is like, I started questioning myself in like middle school.
Yeah.
And I was kind of firm in my belief of who I was. I'm bi.
Yes.
Like, I'm just gonna preface all this with that.
I'm Pam.
And because of the town that I had lived in, it was very unacceptable, that and my family around me, like my dad, one of the most supportive people whenever I came out. So I was like, oh my God, I could have had this be known way before. But because of the town that I had lived in, to try to blend in, I said and did some things I was not very proud of. But that's because I didn't want to get harassed. Like, that's another thing I hate, whenever people point out just like, oh yeah, people that are part of the LGBTQ have a higher suicide rate. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's just because, oh, I'm a man that likes men, I need to kill myself? That's not how that works. It's the outside world around them that influences them. Because guess what? People that are LGBT, that have a support group that love them and care for them no matter who they are, those are the people that are alive and happy. Those that come out that have nobody around them except people that hate them, those are going to be the people that do wind up ending their own lives. Because guess what? They feel like nobody's out there to care about them. So again, it's not an issue of something's wrong with them mentally. It's more of an issue of the people around them are too ignorant to realize that they are the exact same person that they've been all this time, but now they want to be honest. I really hate when people say being gay or something like that is a choice. The only choice you have is if you want to be true to yourself, or if you want to keep living a lie just to appease the people around you. That is the only choice you have in the matter. I couldn't help how I felt about men. Someone's gonna clip that and take it out of context, but it's genuine. Like, I couldn't help how I felt about them.
I mean, I see women, I'm like, oh, she's pretty, like, oh.
Yeah, like, you know, I genuinely, it wasn't something, and especially with the town I grew up in, it was not, I was exposed to it because the people around me. I knew one other gay kid in high school. One. And guess what? I didn't meet him until I was a junior or a senior, and I was questioning stuff like this since middle school.
I would look back, like, my senior year when I was starting to, like, realize, and, like, I, you know, officially came out during color guard, but I would look back on things I did and like how I acted toward, like, you know, girls, and I'd be like, how did I not know? How? But
so like, if you're one of those people that believe it's a choice, please just reevaluate. I don't think anybody chooses to be prejudiced against or be antagonized just because of who they are. No one wants to go out and choose that. Especially if it means that, one, they're gonna get shot up just because they want to go enjoy a fun night out with friends at a club. If it means, two, they never get to talk to their family again because they just completely cut them out. Or because, three, they get driven so hard by everyone else around them into the ground that they think the only way out is to take their own lives. No one willingly chooses that. Like, it's plain and simple. There's no choice in that matter. It is something that is forced. or not forced.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I meant. It is something that you just sort of grow up and realize.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, maybe you realize it early in your life, or maybe you think on it later and you're like, wow, why didn't I see like the signs, basically, you know?
Again, if you couldn't tell which side we align with,
yeah, but
I hope you do now.
All that being said, back to why I had originally said that, like, you can't just dig up something someone did 10 years ago, especially if they like have apologized and they're like have changed and like with their beliefs and what they say. And you know, I feel like if they haven't apologized, or like if they didn't seem sincere, or if it's like they continue having these actions, canceling is fine.
But if they've genuinely changed and acknowledged that what they did is wrong, that's when you have absolutely no right. Because guess what? If someone's trying to do better for themselves and the people around them, they have no right to be canceled. People, no matter what anyone says, people can change.
People can change.
Change is not easy in the slightest. It is very hard to change. So, especially if they have these allegations 10 plus years ago and they've changed, that should be celebrated more than anything.
Yeah. But I will say a bad example of someone who apologized, but it wasn't an apology, Colleen Ballinger. Like, people have come forward about her, and then she was like, oh, I'm not a groomer, I'm just a loser. Like,
sure, Jan.
Say, you know, you can apologize and say, I didn't intend for things to be taken that way, but I'm so sorry that it felt not like a I'm sorry you feel that way, but like a I'm sorry
that's how I came off.
That's how it came across. Yeah. And you know, like, she could have said that, but no, she released
a damn song.
A bad song, but albeit very catchy. Because sometimes I'll sit there and I'm like, toxic gossip. Like, it was awful. Like, worst way to apologize. Worst way to apologize, but kind of catchy. You have to admit.
My agent said I shouldn't say what I think about the subject, but they didn't say I couldn't. They didn't say I couldn't sing.
Yeah, she really pulled a cat from Victorious, but like, it's just like, you know, she clearly believes she did no wrong, and she, instead of apologizing for it, decided to be like, this is why I'm not what you say I am. Like, just apologize, because if somebody takes what you say the wrong way, even if you didn't intend it, if it still hurt them,
just apologize. That's all you gotta do.
The worst they can do is say, I don't forgive you. And that's on them at that point, because it's like, if they don't forgive you, then, I mean, what else can you do? You know? Like, other than change and be like, hey.
Anyway, we're like 17 minutes over time. I didn't want to cut us off, though, because I feel like that was a very productive conversation.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people out there that get upset about some of the stances that we took.
Oh,
and
well.
if that upsets you, maybe this isn't the show for you. I get it. You don't got to say anything. Just move on.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, wasn't planning on going 17 minutes over time. Oh well, things happen.
Hope you watched it to the end.
So we will see you guys in another 2 weeks. We're going to figure out how we're going to fill in that blank next time. But for right now, Summer, do you have anything else to say before we leave?
Ace.
I have to say that I have to go stir the potato soup.
Oh yeah, we're making potato soup on this snowy day.
So hope y'all have a great rest of your day. And tell someone you care about them today. Tell someone you care about them today.